training, gradual intensity training, continuous training. I walk back and forth for sometimes 18 miles. I'm taking care of things as I do this. I'm staying out of the sun. I've got some precancerous things going on. This weird mole on my face that I got when I was doing melatonin without having to sit in the sun. You can play with your melanin. I'll tell you, forewarn you, if you ever want to use that stuff, it will. I think I had a freckle here, and it brought out the ugliest mole. And then suddenly, when I was walking all the time outside, the sun shone on that mole and brought out. I'm not a moley person, but I have moles on my arms. Got moles on my arms. Got moles on my torso now. Because after that, when you go through sun exposure, you never get rid of those moles again. If you're getting moles, usually you want to look at your liver function, liver enzymes. And so that's what we're doing here. Get training, continuous training. And Rogue Beast Warrior, where I post up my results. And it looks like I'm flexing my muscles like I think I'm really big, which I don't think that. Even when I was fat and overweight 9 months ago, I didn't think that about myself. I was just merely showing muscle separation. I was being positive, and I was like, this is what it is. What do we have to work with? That's the first piece of advice that I have to give people, is not necessarily to put it up transparency in front of other people, but to say that do a video log on your own. I wish I saved a lot of those video logs, because I did video logging going back 20 plus years, 22, 23 years. And the video camera imaging equipment that I used, I didn't think I was able to transfer it. I remember one day when I just threw away all my saved footage. It would have been great to have that now. But that's what happens when you are considered awoken, when you're considered a transient, right? Like the word villain comes from one who doesn't own land and invariably has to work someone else's land, right? And they're trying to gain their freedom and land use rights, right? Land ownership in a completely feudalistic system of that brought about capitalism. In capitalism, the statement is, if you create this dynamic chain of competition, right? An open chain, and whoever wants it bad enough can jump in and through meritocracy, earn their way up. But unfortunately, because there are other systems in play, you come up with a kakistocracy. Trust me, they're aware of the things that I was talking about in the last live that I was doing, where all these parallel systems are running at the same time. There isn't just one system. And I was trying to get into the area where I was doing a broad view on witchcraft, how it is the elephant in the room wherever you go, whatever business you're patronizing, from the symbols that you see to the utilization and capitalism that you see that is involved in these boutique organizations, all the way down to the blocks, and how that's more of a Masonic concept. that there is an alliance between the brothers and the sisters, right? You have the Masonic order or institution, really the builders. And there's a lot of, it's not just speculation. Some people say they have the proof that, like Ralph Ellis, if you follow what he says and you use him kind of as a middle ground construct to the fact that King Isis was referred to as what was referred to as the Masons. And then the argument is, well, the Masons didn't exist then. And it's like, well, look at the entire Masonic traditions that are 100% about going through these rituals that have to do with the Great Pyramid. And by the way, that's probably the Great Pyramid that's on the South Pole, Antarctica. And if you want to look into Antarctica more, I suggest you go on the Sean Ryan show, look up Eric Hecker, episode, I think like 63 through 66 or something. It might be 65, 66 of the Sean Ryan show. And he recently had Billy Carlson. Is it Carson or Carlson? Carson. He had Billy Carson on. And I only say that because it's interesting how people are looking at, from an esoteric view, they're looking at things more pragmatically, systematically, ontologically, rather than just the epistemology of the times, and starting to factor in, like, metaphysics is not being left out, and it doesn't harm or gloss over philosophy. In fact, it broadens one's application, use, but discovery of philosophy, where things seem very cryptic and undefined at a time, and it lays out a treatise. It just shows the study and the conjecture and the patternization of, instead of just looking past this word metaphysics, like let's look at it closely and see what it meant at the time and how it has transitioned through times and eras, right? And what we might want to look at as an evolution of what that means now. Like, in other words, if you were to look at the word metaphysics and see that, and I'm not talking about from an etymology or a nomenclature point of view to break it down, right? But to say that the overall pervading meaning as it's transpired and changed throughout history points to magic itself. And what the term practical magic really is the use from a practical perspective of how it might best serve society, the social system, right? So then you start to look at social networking systems a little closer with more of a perspicacious eye. You know, met is also used as like a metabolic equivalent unit, right? It's a unit of joules or energy, what it really is. Or metacognition, the study, right, and the utilization of the imaginary mind tools. You know, metaverse, right? The meta systems, the many systems, the life systems, the life force. So, metacognition. And one might just divide it down into a unit of measure.